Welcome to EduRev.
Hello everyone, welcome to EduRev. In this video, we will continue our discussion of the 6th standard NCERT, the Geography NCERT, the Earth our Habitat. So let us start discussion of the second chapter, the globe, latitudes and longitudes. Okay, first let us try to understand what is a globe. Now in the previous chapter, we have studied that the Earth is not a perfect sphere. It is slightly flattened at the poles and it bulges at the equator. So the Earth is slightly flattened at the poles and it bulges at the equator. So the shape of the Earth is not a perfect sphere. The shape of the Earth is geoid. Clear? Now, the globe is a true model, a miniature form of the Earth. So the shape of the globe is not a perfect sphere. The shape of the globe is geoid. So globe is a true representation, a miniature form of the Earth. Clear? Now, this dotted line is called the axis of the Earth. So the axis is an imaginary line which is passing through the center of the Earth. The axis also passes through the North Pole and South Pole. Okay, now the Earth spins about the axis. Clear? Or the Earth spins around its axis. Now the axis of the Earth is not straight, it is inclined towards the sun as shown in this image. So please keep this in mind. So the axis of the Earth is not a straight line, it is inclined. So the Earth is inclined towards the sun. Clear? Now let us discuss about latitudes and longitudes. Now, why do we need latitudes and longitudes in the first place? Latitudes and longitudes are imaginary lines which are used for reference. Without latitudes and longitudes, it becomes so difficult for us to determine accurately the location of any place on the Earth. So latitudes and longitudes, they form a grid. When I say grid, it is something like this. They form a grid on the Earth. So using this grid, you can accurately determine the location of any place on the Earth. So that is the reason we need latitudes and longitudes. Clear? Now, let us discuss about latitudes. The equator is the imaginary line which divides the globe into two halves, the northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere. So this is the equator. It divides the globe into two equal halves, the northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere. Now, all parallel circles from the equator up to the poles are called parallels of latitudes, which are measured in degrees. So as you can see in this image, you have parallel circles which are parallel to the equator. So all these parallel circles which are parallel to equator are called parallels of latitudes. So from the equator, they go north and south till North Pole and South Pole. Clear? And these parallel circles are measured in degrees. Like you have 20° north, 40° north, 60° north, 80° north, and then you have 90° north, which is the North Pole. In the same way, you have 20° south, 40° south, 60° south, 80° south, and then you have the South Pole, which is 90° south. So all these parallel circles are called parallels of latitudes. Now, the important parallels of latitudes. Apart from the equator, these are the important parallels of latitudes. You have Tropic of Cancer, which is 23.5 degrees north. Then you have Tropic of Capricorn, which is 23.5 degrees south. Then you have the Arctic Circle, which is 66.5 degrees north. And then you have the Antarctic Circle, which is 66.5 degrees south. So these are the important parallels of latitudes apart from the equator. Now, why are these important? So this image explains why these are important. Now, the area between Tropic of Cancer and Tropic of Capricorn, that is 23.5 degrees north and 23.5 degrees south, is tropical zone, also called torrid zone. Next, the area between Tropic of Cancer and Arctic Circle is temperate zone. In the same way, the area between Tropic of Capricorn and Antarctic Circle is temperate zone. Now, beyond the Arctic Circle and Antarctic Circle, we have the polar zone, also called the frigid zone. So, these are the major heat zones of the Earth. So, what exactly happens here? As we know, the Earth is inclined. The Earth is not sitting perfectly straight, the Earth is inclined. So, the tropical zone receives vertical rays from the sun. It receives most of the solar radiation and also it receives vertical rays from the sun. So the tropical zone is hot. Next, the temperate zone. It is receiving slanting rays of the sun. So the temperate zone is warm. Okay. Now the frigid zone. It receives highly slanting rays from the sun. So the frigid zone is cold. So in this way, we have the major heat zones of the Earth. So that is the reason the Tropic of Cancer, Capricorn, Arctic Circle, and Antarctic Circle. All these are important parallels of latitudes. They divide the various heat zones of the Earth. Now, let us discuss about longitudes. The lines of references running from North Pole to the South Pole are called meridians of longitude. So, these lines of references are running from the North Pole to the South Pole. And as you can see in this image, the distance between two longitudes goes on decreasing as we move towards the poles. And at the poles, both North Pole and South Pole, all the longitudes converge. They all meet at a point. Clear? Now, the distance between the longitudes is measured in degrees of longitude. And each degree is further divided into minutes, and minutes are further divided into seconds. So, like for example, if this is 1 degree longitude, next the second will be 2 degree longitude. So, the distance between the longitudes is measured in degrees, and degrees are further divided into minutes, and minutes are further divided into seconds. We'll also look at an example for this, so please don't worry. Now, these lines are semicircles, and the distance between them decreases steadily poleward until it becomes zero, where all the meridians meet. Clear? Now, unlike parallels of latitude, all meridians are of equal length. So, in the previous image, we have seen the parallels of latitude. These are parallel circles to the equator. So, as we move towards the pole, the size of the parallel circle goes on decreasing. So, unlike the parallels of latitude, the meridians, they all have equal lengths, and all these are semicircles, and they all converge at North Pole and South Pole. Clear, right? Now, numbering of meridians. Now, we have equator, which is considered to be the most important parallel of latitude, and we have given it a value 0 degree. So, that is taken as the reference. In the same way, we need a reference, right, for meridians also. So all the countries agreed that the count of meridians should begin from the meridian which passed through Greenwich, where the British Royal Observatory is located. So this is considered to be the prime meridian. Its value is 0 degree longitude. Okay? I hope you're understanding. So just like equator, we have a prime meridian. The value of prime meridian is 0 degree longitude, and it passes through a village called Greenwich, the United Kingdom, and it is where the British Royal Observatory is located. Clear? So from the prime meridian, we count 180 degrees eastward and westward. I hope you're understanding. So starting from the 0 degree longitude, we count 180 degrees eastward and 180 degrees westward. So exactly behind the prime meridian, on the other side of the globe, you have the 180 degree longitude. I hope you're understanding this. Now the prime meridian and the 180 degree meridian divide the earth into two equal halves, the eastern hemisphere and the western hemisphere. So previously we have understood that you have the prime meridian, which is 0 degree, and exactly behind the prime meridian you have the 180 degree meridian. So these two meridians divide the earth into two equal halves, the eastern hemisphere and the western hemisphere. Clear? Now, the longitude of a place is followed by the letter E for east and W for west. If the longitude is present in the eastern hemisphere, we have the letter E for east. If the longitude is present in the western hemisphere, we have the letter W for west. Now, this is just for you to get more clarity. If you compare the differences between latitudes and longitudes, you'll get more clarity on this concept. Latitude is the term that describes how far north or south from the equator the location is. So the equator is taken as the reference here, and how far north or south from the equator the location is. That is described by the term latitude. But when you speak about longitude, you take prime meridian as the reference, and how far from the prime meridian, east or west, a location is present. That is given by longitude. So, latitudes, the parallels of latitudes, are parallel circles to the equator. They are one complete circle. But the meridians of longitude, these are not complete circles. These are semicircles. And they all have equal lengths and they all converge at North Pole and South Pole. So that is the basic difference between latitudes and longitudes. Now, let us discuss about longitude and time. When the prime meridian of Greenwich has sun at the highest point in the sky. So guys, this point is very, very important. So please try to understand this. When the sun is at the highest point in the sky over the prime meridian, all the places that are lying on the prime meridian will have midday or noon, 12 p.m. Clear, right? Now, the earth rotates from west to east. We all know this, right? The earth rotates from west to east. So, places which are east of Greenwich will be ahead of Greenwich in time, and places which are west to the Greenwich will be behind of Greenwich in time. So just consider this to be the eastern hemisphere and this to be the western hemisphere, and this is the prime meridian. So places which are lying on the eastern hemisphere will have time ahead of the Greenwich time, and places which are lying on the western hemisphere, they have time behind that of the Greenwich time, because the earth rotates from west to east. Clear? Now, the earth rotates 360 degrees in about 24 hours. So if you multiply 24 hours into 60 minutes, we have around 1440 minutes in 24 hours. So divide 1440 by 360, you get 1 degree in 4 minutes. Okay? So the earth rotates 360 degrees in 24 hours, or 1 degree in 4 minutes. That means for every 4 minutes, the sun shifts from 1 degree to the next degree, longitudes. I hope you're understanding. So when it is 12 noon at Greenwich, the time at 15 degrees east of Greenwich will be 15 into 4, 60 minutes. That means 1 hour ahead of Greenwich time, which is 1 p.m. I hope you're understanding. See, like for example, this is 1 degree longitude and this is 2 degree longitude. The time taken by sun rays to shift from 1 degree longitude to the second degree longitude is 4 minutes. Okay, now just imagine that it is 12 noon at Greenwich. Now the prime meridian is 0 degree. So it is 12 noon at Greenwich. So the time at 15 degrees east of Greenwich will be 15 into 4, that is 60 minutes. It means 1 hour ahead of Greenwich time. That means 1 p.m. Clear? Now, at 15 degrees west of Greenwich, the time will be behind Greenwich time by 1 hour. That means 11 a.m. Clear, right? So, similarly, at 180 degrees, that is exactly behind the prime meridian, it will be midnight when it is 12 noon at Greenwich. So, I hope it all makes sense. Now, previously, we have understood that the prime meridian and the 180-degree longitude are exactly on the other side of the earth. They are exactly opposite to each other on the other side. So if it is 12 noon on prime meridian, then obviously it is going to be 12 midnight at the 180-degree longitude. Clear? So I hope all these calculations made sense to you. Now, what is standard time? The local time of a central meridian of a country is taken as the standard time for the entire country. Now, there is one thing you have to understand here. Through each country, many meridians pass. Okay, now, if you have many meridians, then at many places you have different times in the same country. It leads to a lot of confusion, a lot of chaos in communication, transportation, etc., etc. So for the whole country, we need one time. Okay, so the 82.5 degrees east meridian, it passes through the center of India, more or less. So the time of the 82.5 degrees east meridian is taken as the standard time for the entire country. So that is the standard practice practiced by most of the countries. I hope you're understanding. So the local time of a central meridian of a country, a meridian which is located geographically at the center of the country, is taken as the standard time for the entire country. In India, the longitude of 82.5 degrees east is treated as the standard meridian, and the time of this meridian is taken as the standard time for the whole country, which is the Indian Standard Time. Clear, right? So guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching this video. Keep learning and I wish you all the best.